Hello, today with us is Dr. Lucy Sebli from UNIMAS, who's here to talk to us about the Sarawak State Elections. Hello, Dr. Lucy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hello. Hi. Good morning.
All right. To start it off straight away, it's the last leg of campaigning.
All right.
What should each political party focus on at this juncture?
I think right now, at this juncture, they need to actually focus on an area where I think issues that is very pertinent to the voters, particularly areas that, political scientists call grey areas. I think they need to really, focus by, I think in this case, try to, if possible, get voters in this particular grey area to deliver or get their message across to them, and also this stage is very, very important because if at the beginning of the campaigns, usually all of these oppositions, be it independents or opposition parties or candidates, will go to places, and then I think this juncture it's very important for them to actually what we call explain what are the issues that have been raised by the candidates of independent candidates or opposition candidates, explain what the issues are, and again explains what the I guess in this case what we the term that a lot of politicians use to at this juncture is to, if possible, clear all of these, uncertainties at the last stage. All the issues that raised by the opposition, they call these uncertainties issues. Clear it up and explain to the voters what exactly, the importance, and then I think convince all of these, we call the swing voters, convince them that, BN, is the best political parties to represent them, at the state level, and also explain their, policies and what can they do, if the Barisan Nasional win these elections, what kind of development can they deliver, what kind of issues, if there's any issues that the, previous incumbents have yet to, settle or developments, unfinished businesses that the coming the new candidates, if they're putting in a new candidates, putting up a new candidates, then what can they do to improve the conditions of the people in that area? And I think at the beginning of the semester, at the beginning of the campaigns, most of the politicians, be it BN or oppositions, they usually go to the area where they know that, these areas, the voters in that particular area support them. So at this stage, it's very important for them to focus on the grey areas. Voters from that area is very, very important to convince them that, it's useless, it's futile to support the opposition parties, and it is important for them to support the, governments or the Barisan Nasional for that matter.
This is what BN should do. But what should opposition do then at this point?
I think the oppositions at this point, counterattack what Barisan Nasional's candidates are doing. I think that's the most important right now. They're doing at this stage, they counterattack each other. But I guess in certain areas, rural areas, it's very difficult for the opposition's candidates or opposition's parties because if you look at their machines, we call it, the campaign machines, that the machineries that Barisan Nasional has compared to the independent candidates, it was so massive, so huge, and the campaign was so effective. And I think for independent parties or candidates for this matter, it's I think it's rather difficult for them to do this unless they have, I guess, good, campaign agents. But DAP, however, I think at this juncture should increase their, if they're going to house, or doors to doors, I think they need to increase that, explain to the voters again the importance of having, oppositions as a balance, check and balances, and also they need to convince the voters it is worthwhile, voting for oppositions and that kind of thing.
How do you think the SUPP President, Dr. Sim Kue Hian, will fare, as it appears to be something of a celebrity candidate right now?
I think celebrity in this case doesn't really have an impact factor, if one might say that. because at the end of the day, voters can, decided to turn up, for his speech and so on and so forth. You can see, huge political masses gathered together, listening to his, speech. But that should not be an indicator, a standalone indicator to, speculate that he is very popular and therefore he will be able to get all these majority votes. That is not necessarily true, because we have a lot of swing voters, people who are very undecided. They will attend all of this gathering, and then at the end of the day they will decide who to vote. So it's not really a very important factors in deciding that. But I think Dr. Sim's seat will be very interesting to look at.
What are BN's strongest assets, and what are their weakest?
I think the strongest asset is that they have this, established, machinery, I would say. I mean, money, they have a lot of that. So they can afford to, hire a lot of people to work for them, canvassing the area, or observers. Some even, afford to go into the rural areas, areas that where both the opposition and also independents could not, access, because of the fact that they have huge machinery that will be able to help them out, like helicopter, money, trucks, 4-wheel drive, and so on and so forth. Places where oppositions and independents are not able to access. So they have, that is their major advantages. And then secondly, I think this time around, Tok Nan's factor is also quite crucial. There are people who actually, even the Chinese voters in the urban areas were actually quite, smitten with him, because his manifestos, all of the developments that he actually set out to achieve, and he had done that so far, and he was very, I think in this case, Tok Nan is a very important factor. He has convinced some of the voters to actually, particularly those who've been, on the opposite, sides, to come over and join BN. I think his approach, to the people, he can communicate to them directly, and because of the informality, the way he addressed, people, the grassroots, the voters, and I think people, can relate to him, and that is actually very, very, very good. I think strong points as far as Barisan Nasional is concerned.
And finally, what is your prediction? How many seats will go to BN? How many to opposition?
I think at this juncture, I can't actually say how many, but I think the Nan teams and BN have been so confident that they'll be able to get that 70 seats. I think they will be able to get that. Some might be able to get it with very marginal, I think, votes, but some will be able to get it with majority votes. But that 70, I think this time around, it's possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucy, for being with us.
All right.
I'm Dina Murad for Star TV, reporting from Kuching, Sarawak.